Okay, I think we're going to get some music here in a moment. There we go.
Riches I heed not, nor man's empty praise. Thou mine inheritance, now and always. Thou and thou only, first in my heart. High King of heaven, my treasure thou art. High King of heaven, my victory won. May I reach heaven's joys, oh bright heaven's sun. Heart of my own heart, ever be one. Still be my vision, oh ruler of all.
Good evening. Welcome to Empty Cross Ministries Daily Devotional. We're going to be looking at Genesis chapter 19, verses 1 through 29 this evening. The two angels arrived at Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gateway of the city. When he saw them, he got up to meet them and bowed down with his face to the ground. "My lords," he said, "please turn aside to your servant's house. You can wash your feet and spend the night, and then go on your way early in the morning." "No," they answered, "we will spend the night in the square." But he insisted so strongly that they did go with him and entered his house. He prepared a meal for them, baking bread without yeast, and they ate. Before they had gone to bed, all the men from every part of the city of Sodom, both young and old, surrounded the house. They called for Lot. "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us so that we can have sex with them." Lot went outside to meet them and shut the door behind him and said, "No, my friends, don't do this wicked thing. Look, I have two daughters who have never slept with a man. Let me bring them out to you, and you can do what you like with them. But don't do anything to these men, for they have come under the protection of my roof." "Get out of our way," they replied. And they said, "This fellow came here as an alien, and now he wants to play the judge. We'll treat you worse than them." They kept bringing pressure on Lot and moved forward to break down the door. But the men inside reached out and pulled Lot back into the house and shut the door. Then they struck the men who were at the door of the house, young and old, with blindness, so that they could not find the door. The two men said to Lot, "Do you have anyone else here, sons-in-law, sons or daughters, or anyone else in the city who belongs to you? Get them out of here, because we are going to destroy this place. The outcry to the Lord against his people is so great that he has sent us to destroy it." So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law who were pledged to marry his daughters. He said, "Hurry and get out of this place, because the Lord is about to destroy the city." But his sons-in-law thought he was joking. With the coming of dawn, the angels urged Lot, saying, "Hurry, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, or you will be swept away when the city is punished." When he hesitated, the man grasped his hand at the hands of his wife and of his 2 daughters and led them safely out of the city, for the Lord was merciful to them. As soon as they brought them out, one of them said, "Flee for your lives. Don't look back, and don't stop anywhere in the plain. Flee to the mountains, or you will be swept away." But Lot said to them, "No, my lords, please, your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you have shown great kindness to me in sparing my life. But I can't flee to the mountains. This disaster will overtake me, and I'll die. Look, here's a town near enough to run to, and it is small. Let me flee to it. It is very small, isn't it? Then my life will be spared." He said to him, "Very well, I will grant this request too. I will not overthrow the town you speak of, but flee there quickly, because I cannot do anything until you reach it." That is why the town was called Zoar. By the time Lot reached Zoar, the sun had risen over the land. Then the Lord rained down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. Thus he overthrew those cities and the entire plain, including all those living in the cities, and also the vegetation in the land. But Lot's wife looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. Early the next morning, Abraham got up and returned to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked down toward Sodom and Gomorrah, toward all the land of the plain, and he saw dense smoke rising from the land, like smoke from a furnace. So when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham, and he brought Lot out of the catastrophe that overthrew the cities where Lot had lived. Like a photo negative, this chapter shows by contrast what Abraham is up against in his efforts to find a new and godly nation. His own nephew lives in the city of Sodom, a sordid place that looks on visiting strangers, angels as it turns out, as prime targets for gang rape. Sexual violence is just one of Sodom's problems. Ezekiel 16:49 says that Sodom was arrogant, overfed, and unconcerned. They did not help the poor and the needy. In the midst of this story, we also see Lot's true character. Although he opposes some of the evils of Sodom, he has been drawn into its allure. His hypocrisy becomes evident when he takes hospitality much too far, offering his own daughters in exchange for the protection of his guest. Clearly, the hearts of Lot and the rest of his family have been colored by their time in Sodom. God's patience with Sodom and Gomorrah finally runs out. Once more, he steps in with direct punishment, not to destroy the whole world, but to wipe out two centers of evil. In typical style, the Bible doesn't bother with scientific explanations of the destruction. Was it a volcanic eruption? The Bible does not say, and the area now apparently at the bottom of the Dead Sea cannot easily be investigated. Genesis stresses not how it happened, but why it happened. According to this chapter, Lot does not learn a lesson from Sodom. Later in the chapter, in a drunken state, he commits incest with his daughters, producing two family lines that will be traditional enemies of Abraham's family, the Jews. Jesus later uses the account of Sodom and Gomorrah as a warning to people who see his miracles but ignore them. God may not always intervene so spectacularly, but this story serves as a warning that his tolerance for evil has a limit. What I'd like to think about today, and this is a lot to think about, contemplate on, and meditate on for this evening, is this question, and it's a loaded question for the times that we live in. What practices common to our society do you think God considers intolerable?
Join forces standing tall and lean upon his word. The enemy is now defeated and bravely circles round. Then comes a cry from the battlefield. Another soldier down. Go then with haste, stand by his side, and then your sick ones oh, bear him love with faith and prayer until the battle's over. The fight before the victory, the cross before the crown, the ever watchful ever cry, another soldier down. We set our minds on victory, advancing